And joining me now is Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, who is also on the Judiciary, Financial, and Veterans Affairs Committees and running for Tennessee governor. Senator Blackburn, thank you very much for being here on NewsNation. We appreciate it.
Good to join you. Thank you so much.
All right, so we've got a lot to cover on this Sunday morning, but first we want to talk about what we're seeing at our nation's airports. And I also want you to take a listen to Democratic Ohio Representative Greg Landsman on why having ICE at the airports, in his opinion, is a bad idea.
It's a very, 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 very bad idea. It's a terrible. I have a hard no. I mean, they need to fund TSA. We have a bill in as a discharge petition right now. We're hopefully going to force a vote. We just need to cover Republicans to fund all of DHS except for ICE. ICE at the moment is a rogue agency that should not be doing anything until it is reformed. Certainly not going into airports.
All right. So first, I want to get your opinion on what we're seeing at our nation's airports right now. I know that you've seen all those videos of those long lines that are just horrible to get through. So the question is, do you think that ICE at airports is going to help or cause more chaos?
Laura, I think what we have to do is look at how this got started. The Democrats had negotiated a bipartisan bill. Then they pulled it back. Then concessions were made. Minnesota surge was stopped. The roving patrol stopped. Body cameras added. There were changes in policies for dealing with agitators and protesters in detention centers. And nothing is good enough because the Democrats have made a promise to their base that they would defund federal law enforcement and they would abolish ICE. So regardless of what concessions have been made, it is not enough for them. So saying let's defund part of DHS but not fund ICE is their way of saying they want to abolish ICE. And no, that's not what the American people want. And as far as having ICE at the airports to be of assistance to your TSA agents, you had Director Homan explain that very well. They would be there as a force multiplier to help to expedite people through the TSA screening process.
Right. I mean, were you surprised when you heard that yesterday? Because when that came across our feeds, a lot of people were taken aback by the very idea. I mean, it's already so chaotic. Was it surprising to you that this was an idea that was not only floated, but now looks like it might be implemented as soon as tomorrow?
I'm pleased that President Trump is trying to find a workaround, and I encourage my Democrat colleagues. They need to realize ICE is funded through 2029. So they can rant and rave all day long about ICE, but they are already funded. What they are doing is holding the traveling public and TSA and FEMA and the Secret Service and Homeland Security investigations and the Coast Guard hostage for their goal of abolishing ICE. They need to agree to the bill they had originally negotiated. They need to fund DHS. There are communities that need to receive their support from FEMA. And then if they want to have discussions on policy matters about ICE, they should do that through the appropriate committee.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens next. Obviously, tomorrow's going to be a big day. We'll see what happens on that. Also wanted to ask you about President Trump being in Memphis tomorrow for this roundtable with the city's Safe Crime Task Force. What do you want to hear from the president on his visit to your state? I know that you're passionate about it.
Yes, indeed. I've worked tirelessly on this, and Memphis had the highest crime rate per capita. Now it is one of the safest cities. I know that we're going to hear from some of the federal agencies, the Tennessee National Guard. The governor is going to join us for this. And Laura, this is going to be an opportunity for him to hear firsthand how Memphis has worked together in partnership, Democrats and Republicans, federal, state, and local agencies to make certain that we have cut the crime rate in half. in Memphis, Tennessee, and to put them on a firm footing for public safety. I wish more cities would follow the template Memphis has had, and that they would have the partnership of Democrats, Republicans, local, state, and federal working together to achieve that type reduction in crime rate. It is a success story for the Trump administration.
All right. Well, you guys have certainly been very busy because soon you've got the Senate convening on Senator Mullen's nomination to become the next DHS secretary. We know that lawmakers voting on whether to advance Mullen to a full and final confirmation vote tomorrow. What do you think will Mullen do differently? I mean, so many people are watching this transition to see what comes next. What are you hoping for?
And Senator Mullen has served well, first in the House and now in the Senate. He understands the relationship between the legislative body and the executive branch. What you will see is his expertise as a leader brought to that agency to make certain that the focus is public safety for the American people.
All right. Another thing that we're looking for and we're looking at right now is the Senate floor live on the SAVE Act. This is going on through the weekend. Republican Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski has been speaking out against it, warning of sweeping impacts on voters. And she wrote, quote, restricting states' ability to tailor their election systems to realities on the ground is a recipe for trouble. And when it comes to elections, what is best for an urban state like Florida may not work in a highly rural state like ours. So I'm wondering if you agree or disagree on that as we watch Mr. Thune there. I know that you've been very outspoken on the SAVE Act. What do you think?
And someone who has been an original co-sponsor of this for the last two Congresses, it is important that we give the respect that is necessary for the voting public, making certain that our citizens know it is only citizens voting in our election, and that showing an ID is commonplace. And Laura, quite frankly, we've had Democrats on the floor talking about that it is common sense that you would show an ID. It is appropriate that only citizens vote. And this is an issue that 71% of Democrats, 85% of independents, and over 90% of Republicans agree with. It is time to pass this and make certain that just as we do in Tennessee, where we verify our rolls, we clean up our rolls, and when people go to the polls, they show an ID. We've been rated #1 in election integrity. We would hope that every state would want to achieve that standard.
And because I just listened to some of your speech on the floor, do you want to chime in about keeping girls safe in sports, which is part of this?
Yes, indeed. And Senator Tuberville and I presented our amendment yesterday. And it was pretty much a party line vote. Here's the thing to know. This is another of those 85% issues with the American people. Preserving Title IX, making certain that only girls are competing in female sports, that they have that opportunity to be a part of a team, to excel, to win those college scholarships, to earn those, and then to compete and win. Laura, that is important. People want to see that preserved. And the fact that the Democrats would not stand up and defend young women and defend Title IX, I think it's pretty disgusting. There are a lot of people who had reached out who really were quite surprised that the Democrats, knowing this is an 85% issue with the American public, that they would not stand up and support young girls and young women in sports.
And Senator, let me just ask you really quick. We had a lot of guests on yesterday talking about everything that is in this act. And many people brought up, and Geraldo was one of them, talking about how it was kind of not a grab bag, but many different subjects under one umbrella, and that maybe it might be better if it was parceled out. Do you have any response to that?
And pulling the things together that the president wanted to see passed and added to this is something we were pleased to accommodate in the Senate. We're going to take these provisions to the floor, call the vote, and make certain that we are counting those votes. Our goal is to get the Save America Act to the president's desk and to do it quickly.
Okay. Also, you released an updated federal AI policy draft as the White House prepares to unveil its own agenda. I've got to ask you about this because we want to know how you envision this protecting Americans while also ensuring America is ahead in the global AI race. Of course, it is a huge concern for so many people.
Yeah, Laura, every single industrial sector has guidelines and guardrails, and they all have product safety standards. Whether you're buying a car, a mattress, a toaster oven, everything has safety standards. And so it is important that as we look at AI and as we want to be the leader in AI, in quantum computing and computational sciences, that we establish this framework protection of what I call the 4 C's: your children, your creators and copyright holders, your communities from high electric rates and job loss, and protecting against censorship, because a lot of these large language models, LLMs they're called, are trained against, they're biased against conservatives or certain groups of people. So you have to put those protections in place, put the guardrails in place, and then let's make certain that we are the most innovative, competitive, and successful nation when it comes to AI utilizations, innovations, development, and deployment.
All right, very good. Thank you very much for laying that out. Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn, thank you very much for spending some of your Sunday with us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And joining